Welcome to Wild Earth Creatures, where every creature has a story. Let the adventure begin. Imagine an animal so enormous that a human being could stand beside its heart and still struggle to comprehend its size. This isn't a dinosaur. It isn't a monster from mythology. It's alive today. It's the blue whale, the largest animal known to have ever existed. And here's the strange part. This gigantic animal doesn't hunt enormous prey. It survives largely by eating creatures so tiny that thousands of them could fit into a handful. Tiny krill. So how did an animal this massive evolve to survive on such microscopic food? And how does something this enormous move through the ocean almost like a ghost? Today, we are following the blue whale through its world, from its unbelievable size, to its feeding strategy, its powerful voice, and the danger that nearly erased it from the planet. Far beneath the surface, where sunlight begins to disappear, an enormous shadow moves through the blue. At first, it might look like a submarine. Then the shape becomes clearer. A long, streamlined body. A tiny dorsal fin far back on its body. A powerful tail moving through the water. And suddenly, you realize you're looking at the largest animal ever known to science. An adult blue whale can reach roughly 24 to 27 meters in length, with exceptionally large individuals approaching 30 meters. That's around the length of 3 school buses placed end to end. Its weight can reach well over 100 tons, with exceptionally large individuals approaching 200 tons. And somehow, this enormous body is perfectly adapted to life in the ocean. The water does something land cannot. It supports the animal's immense weight. On land, gravity places severe limits on how large a body can become. But underwater, buoyancy carries much of that burden. And over millions of years, evolution pushed the whale's body toward a scale unlike anything else on Earth. But size isn't the blue whale's only superpower. Its real secret begins with its mouth. A blue whale doesn't have rows of giant teeth. Instead, it has something far more specialized. Baleen. Hundreds of plates hang from the whale's upper jaw. They're made from keratin, the same tough material found in human hair and fingernails. But these plates turn the whale's enormous mouth into a living filtration system. Imagine the whale discovering a dense cloud of krill. It accelerates. Its mouth opens. And suddenly, an enormous volume of seawater rushes inside. The pleated skin beneath its throat expands dramatically, allowing the whale to engulf an enormous gulp. Then the real trick begins. The whale closes its mouth and pushes the seawater back out. The water escapes through the baleen. But the krill don't. They're trapped. And the whale simply swallows. This technique is called lunge feeding. It's one of the reasons a creature weighing more than 100 tons can survive on tiny crustaceans. During productive feeding periods, a blue whale can consume several tons of prey in a day. Think about that. The largest animal ever known is essentially filtering the ocean for tiny packages of energy. And there's another remarkable detail. Blue whales don't need to search every square kilometer of ocean for food. They depend on huge concentrations of krill. When those feeding opportunities appear, the whale has to make the most of them. That leads to one of the most impressive migrations in the natural world. The blue whale is enormous. But its home is even bigger. These whales travel through vast stretches of the world's oceans, moving seasonally between productive feeding grounds and warmer breeding areas. In colder waters, food can become incredibly abundant. So the whales arrive and feed heavily, building energy reserves. Then comes another stage of their journey. They move toward warmer waters. There, reproduction becomes the priority. And during these journeys, blue whales may spend long periods traveling through an environment where visibility is limited. So how do they communicate? With sound. Powerful, low-frequency calls travel extraordinarily well through seawater. Blue whale vocalizations can reach around 188 decibels, placing them among the loudest sounds produced by any animal. Their calls can travel enormous distances underwater. A whale may be out of sight, surrounded by darkness and miles of open ocean, yet its voice can still carry through the water. It's almost as though the whale has its own underwater communication network. And the deeper you look into its biology, the stranger this giant becomes. Because scientists can even uncover clues about its age from something most people would never expect. Earwax. Layers accumulate inside the whale's ear canal over time. By examining these layers, researchers can estimate how old the animal was. Some blue whales are thought to live for many decades, with estimates commonly reaching around 80 to 90 years. So somewhere beneath the surface could be an animal carrying nearly a century of history inside its body. But even the largest animal on Earth isn't invincible. For most of its life, a blue whale has very few natural enemies. But there is one predator capable of turning the tables. The orca. Orcas are intelligent, social hunters. And while young blue whales are particularly vulnerable, coordinated attacks involving orcas have also been documented against adult blue whales. That changes the way we think about the ocean giant. Because being the largest doesn't mean being untouchable. But there is something even more disturbing. The greatest threat to the blue whale hasn't always come from another animal. It came from us. For centuries, the immense body of the blue whale represented valuable resources. Its blubber, meat, and baleen could all be exploited. As whaling technology improved, hunters were able to pursue these enormous animals far out at sea. And the consequences were devastating. Blue whale populations collapsed. In the southern hemisphere alone, hundreds of thousands were killed during the industrial whaling era. By the 20th century, the animal that had ruled the oceans for millions of years had been pushed dangerously close to extinction. International protection eventually changed the situation. Commercial hunting was dramatically reduced and major protections were introduced. Blue whale populations have shown signs of recovery in some regions. But they remain endangered globally. And modern dangers haven't disappeared. Ship strikes, fishing gear entanglement, changing ocean conditions, and underwater noise can all affect these giants. The blue whale survived the era when humans nearly hunted it out of existence. But its story is far from finished. Now imagine the ocean at dawn. The surface is calm. There's no sound of engines. No boats. Only waves moving across thousands of kilometers of open water. Then, suddenly, a column of air erupts from the surface. A blue whale has surfaced. For a few seconds, you see its enormous back. Then the body disappears again. Gone beneath the waves. This animal has existed through enormous changes in Earth's history. Its ancestors were land mammals. Over millions of years, their descendants gradually adapted to life in water. Limbs changed. Bodies became streamlined. Tails transformed into powerful flukes. Nostrils migrated toward the top of the head. And eventually, evolution produced something extraordinary. The largest animal ever to live. Yet the blue whale's greatest lesson may not be about size. It's about survival. An animal powerful enough to dominate an entire ecosystem was almost destroyed by a species thousands of times smaller. And its recovery reminds us of something important. Even the biggest creatures on Earth can depend on the choices of the smallest creature capable of changing the planet. Today, somewhere beneath the waves, a blue whale may be traveling along an ancient route. Feeding. Calling. And carrying on a story that began millions of years ago. The ocean may feel endless. But for the blue whale, every journey matters. And perhaps the most incredible thing about this giant isn't that it survived. It's that we still have the chance to make sure it remains here. Enjoying the video? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss more videos. And share this video with your friends. Thanks for watching.